You're watching Fugitive Red-Eye, and welcome to another rant. Been a minute since I've done a rant, and I've technically kind of ranted on this subject before, but something pissed me off today, right? So, it's first week of the month, meaning we have to pay my mortgage. So naturally, I have a lot less money than I would later on in the month. I'm trying to recover my savings, because every once in a while I have to borrow from my savings to help with that mortgage payment. Especially when I make poor decisions like door-dashing food, which I'm gonna just not do for a while now, because, I need to start rebuilding my shit again. Like, granted, my savings are still fine, there's still money in them, just not as much money as I would like. But here's the thing, in addition to my savings account, I always have my extra special backup, right? And that backup is the good old coin jar. Whenever I get coins and change, this is where I put it. Now, granted, since 2020, I don't use cash anywhere near as much as I used to, because prior to 2020, believe it or not, I didn't even have a fucking debit card. I've mentioned this in my other rants on cashless shit, right? But, I didn't have a debit card, so this was how I would always pay cash, and I'd always fill this up. Now, granted, this was a lot more full before today, which we'll get into, right? So, since I had to pay my mortgage, I had to take out of the savings again. Again, it's still got a decent amount. It's just less than I'd like. But I also bought some groceries so that I don't have to buy food as much. And then those groceries cost me like $40, so right then I got down even more in my checking, because I take out of both my checking and my savings, because I try not to touch my savings. But during mortgage week, I usually have to, for at least a couple hundred. Anyway, point is, it's been harder to put money back into my savings, because also car insurance, because, you know, I got fucked over by one insurance company, and now I have to pay twice as fucking much. But anyway, that's a whole other tangent. Point is, I always have the old reliable coin jar, because I haven't touched it in like 3 years, like, other than adding to it every once in a while. But again, since I don't use cash as much, I don't add to it anywhere near as much as I used to. That said, I do still add to it occasionally, because I do still occasionally use cash, but cash used to be all I used, so a lot of this has been in there for, like, ever. And granted, the coin jar, not all the coins do I want to use. Like my Eisenhower dollar, right, this one here, I don't want to use that, because it's kind of cool, you can't really get these anymore. Or my half dollars, because you don't really see them anymore either. There's also some foreign currency in there, pesos, there's a couple of British pence, specifically like 15 pence pieces or something, or 12 pence, something like that. And then there's some Canadian coins, and there's also a strip club token, which isn't actually currency, obviously. There might still be a car wash token in there somewhere. Point is, there's some coins in there that can't really be used, so whenever I empty the coin jar, I make sure to separate out the stuff that I want to hold on to or can't be used. So I used this little baggie and filled it up with a bunch of coins. I focused on quarters, nickels, and dimes, but I did throw a bunch of pennies in there in the end, too. You know, it also kind of takes me back when I was a kid before I had a job. I used to go around the house, digging coins out of the couch, and getting enough money to buy a Slurpee, and then walk down to 7-Eleven and buy them that way. I miss doing that. That was fun. It's nostalgic. Anyway, with that said, I keep getting sidetracked, but that's fine. Since I wanted to get some extra cash from my coins, I went to the bank. I had to make the withdrawal anyway for the mortgage payment. But when I went to the bank, I noticed their coin machine was out of order, so that was kind of irritating. So I made the mortgage payment transfer. Well, not transfer, I took out the money, and then I'm going to deposit it. But anyway, I got the money for the mortgage, and I'm like, okay, I guess I'll try another location, right? So I went to another location for my same bank. Their coin machine was out of order. Part of me starting to think this is intentional. Then I went to the grocery store, because if you guys have never heard of it, there's this thing called Coinstar. And what Coinstar is it's those coin machines, similar to the bank has, but the big downside is they take a portion of the money. Whereas the bank, you don't have to get charged for it because it's your bank. But with Coinstar, they used to give you 90 cents on the dollar, so they would take 10 cents per dollar. They take more than that now, because I exchanged $30 worth of coins, and they took $4 instead of $3. But they didn't have a Coinstar at the first grocery store I went to, which is a mistake on my part. I went to the wrong one again. I always forget which of the 2 grocery stores that are nearest to me have a Coinstar machine. So that's my mistake. I've made that mistake a couple of times in the past, too, because I rarely use a fucking Coinstar machine, because I'd rather just use the one in the bank because they don't charge me. So part of me thinks, this coin shortage we're having is actually just banks not wanting to take coins, and so then it's not actually a shortage. You know what I mean? Like, that's a feeling I get, because we keep moving towards a cashless world. But I hate that, like, because the thing is with cashless, if there's an issue with the computer, you have no money. With actual physical money, there's not a whole lot they can do other than take it, right? Like, another thing is when I bought the groceries, because I went to the wrong grocery store first, and I'm like, I guess I'll buy some groceries here, and I'll use the coins there. I go to the self-checkout, because I didn't want to have to hand someone a bunch of coins. Turns out, first off, I wouldn't have had enough, because it was, $40 worth of groceries and only $30 worth of coins. But, not only that, but all of their self-checkouts were fucking cashless. Now, granted, a lot of the stores don't do that, but a lot of them have some that are cashless, some that'll take cash. So that was kind of irritating, but I bought my groceries there, and then I went to the other grocery store, and finally got a fucking Coinstar machine. So then there I exchanged it, so now I have $26 to my name. That's not true. I've still got some money in my checking and a good amount of money in my savings. Again, just both are less than I would like. So I'm going to try to cut back on spending, because I've been a little reckless the last little bit. But, like, granted, not so reckless that it's made a big dent or anything. I'm usually actually pretty good at not touching my savings. But I think the last, month I've had to mess with it, or I haven't been able to put anything back into it from the last time I borrowed from it, and now I had to borrow from it again. I usually don't have to borrow from it twice in a row without paying it back, so that's kind of frustrating. But anyway, just thought I'd rant on that. I think that cashless is a problem because, obviously it's what they're trying to move us towards because it's easier to control, right? Because you can trace card payments and you can shut off cards and, it's super dependent on the bank. But I think that cash still is very important. But unfortunately, we're getting more and more away from it. And coins especially, people don't want to take because, well, they're coins. And there's a lot of them. I personally have always kind of liked coins because I collect some of them, right? Like I said, there's some that I keep in here. Yeah, it's really frustrating how hard it is to fucking exchange my coins for cash. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Have a good one. Toodles.